Look, I believe, as far as the economy goes, we've rested on our laurels long enough. We're now being overtaken by other councils who've structured their charges competitively to attract business. It's important that we streamline processes for new DAs and fast-track existing ones. I want to merge economic development into planning, so when we get planning applications in, we look at the economic benefit they are to the city, and if there is measured economic benefit, then they get fast-tracked. I want to review the zoning protocols, including reviewing the urban footprint and identifying areas that should be included within it. I want to scrap the view tax. It's a very negative effect on the high-rise industry. And I'm also wanting to turn Business Gold Coast into a 15-person committee with representatives from each of the 9 chambers of commerce and 6 representatives from fields such as property and construction, tourism and education. And this will allow the council to hear what's happening from the people on the ground, and giving business owners a clear path of communication back to the council. As Chair of Economic Development, I have been working on diversifying the economy, but I'll continue as Mayor of the City to invest more in enticing the film industry here, building the tech industry through connecting with the high-speed Guam underwater cable, place a strong emphasis on business tourism, make it easier for Gold Coasters to fly in and fly out to the mining jobs, those people having their families here and living and putting money back into our community, encourage researchers to come to our Gold Coast universities, and sell the attributes of investing in this wonderful city with an extensive roadshow with me as the Mayor. Past history, I've kickstarted works on the foreshore, $25 million and $6 million from Seoul. Beautiful, that we just found out yesterday we're going to have beach volleyball with the Commonwealth Games because of the beautiful venue we have. I've kickstarted the Hilton when it all ground to a halt. I've kickstarted the Hope Island Bridge when I convinced the council not to let in the residents for such an important project. Ladies and gentlemen, I am involved and I have been involved with the economic benefits of the city, and I'll continue. Thank you.
First round of answers, a number of subjects that we're planning to ask about have been touched on, but not by all of the members. I'll press on with the final questions we're going to ask. And question number 2 is structure and culture of the council. How will you set about improving the structure, culture and functionality of council to make it more efficient and a welcoming council to economic growth? And I think we might start with Keith.
Thanks, Bruce. I'm taking a technical approach to this, and it's what I'm used to doing. This council has been restructured for over 15 years. Yet, without even considering the needs of the organisation, I've gone out and committed $87 million to an ERP computer system, which I'm pleased to say, Channel 9 picked up on last night and put the red flag up. Now, this project is out of control. That's an industry term that I've been given, out of control. They could have had a system for $15 million. They're spending 87. They could be on the way to 200 without a result. Technology is important, and if you look at South Korea, they've used technology to stamp out corruption and to get fast-track processing and development. So we need to embrace the right technology. In terms of the actual structure of council, that will be done by a full audit to start off with, so we know where the money really is, and that will be followed by a full management consultancy study. Council is then restructured. Now, our problems lie in the senior management of council. Within the line managers, there are good operators there, they do great service, and some of those people are so frustrated with the system, they actually approach members within the community, particularly chambers of commerce, to actually lobby the senior management. This is a dysfunctional council, and I'm sure all of you involved in business, I'm not giving you any news this morning, you know, that's why we're all sitting here debating. So that would be fixed, and that would be reformed if I'm mayor. In terms of the actual planning of the city, this is something that's never been done. No, you don't. You have to bring from overseas. We've got a guy called Brian Toyota, genius, to come and see him. So the opinion plan, that's one of my great strengths. Service, I understand. Doing a setting up a development advisory board in the industry so that we get there. I went to see Brian, he's in the top of Australia, he does work all over the world. We spoke about a whole range of techniques and things that can be done. All this thinking, all these approaches is just on the radar as far as both the state government and the council. But I will put it on the radar, and in the coming I spoke to Gordon Douglas one day and I said, we need to really bring in.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have a plan to reform council, reducing the 8 directorates down to just 5. There's a lot of things when you analyse the whole organisation within which a lot of waste of money and cause unnecessary delays into application. Under my call, planning the city will handle all application in a...
So that's a significant obligation of mine, is to try to encourage more efficient processes and encourage more service delivery from the council without massive restructuring and reform that's been promised, which is just going to engage and we're just going to be employing a whole bunch of people to rewrite policies. That's what we're going to get. We don't need that. We need the city to be going ahead. We need to be very dynamic about our growth and responding to the issues that present themselves to the city. And working with the industry is a really important aspect of how we get from here to there. And we've had some blockages, quite a few blockages in that regard. My objective is to establish, as the Brisbane Law Band has, a very small select group of business people with whom there's direct communication and dialogue on a very regular basis so we can punch through these critical issues. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's fair to say that the Gold City Council is the first to introduce legislation, and I guess that's a symptom of a process where our senior executives are always rewarded with bonuses for introducing legislation, the sort of things that you're complaining about, things that are slowing down processes. There's no doubt in my mind, and I'm going to agree with the second speaker, is that the Gold Coast City Council's administration is a bloated administration. It is far too bloated. There are far too many layers in there where there's managers and executive coordinators and supervisors, and it just goes on. And that comes at a cost. It comes at a cost in terms of the processing times, which is the sort of thing that we've been highlighting that we need to have addressed. It comes in the form of the cost that you end up having to pay for. And that's why I've been arguing very strongly that the current system has to change. And we can no longer defend the current administration. It's undefendable. It's undefendable because if you're looking at economic stimulus initiatives, we need to be able to afford those economic initiatives, and we can only afford those if we have the funds to be able to channel the money into those initiatives. And that's why I've been asking for our budget process to be open, so that the promises that have been made today the public can determine whether they can be delivered or not. There is no doubt that if we want to move the city forward, if we want to see some economic activity, that we need to find a funding source, and there is a funding source, and it's through the local
Next. We will, until we change the way council operates and until we fix this council and growth and stunning the growth of our economy. Ladies and gentlemen, I put in more detail on this reforming of the council structure, so we'll go well beyond my little speech here. But I put to you that in more detail, I will leave it outside and you can collect it and see how the 8 directors get reduced down to 5.
Again, a massive misunderstanding or lack of understanding of this play wants to take. All of the development applications are dealt with by a single unit in the council that requires and gets information from a variety of different sectors within the whole organisation, but all of the assessment is undertaken by a single unit. We can certainly make the process more efficient, and work has been underway to do that. Major projects unit has now been copied by the local city council. Our appeals unit has been copied by the local council because they can see that these kind of structural mechanisms actually work. The major projects unit, for example, recently dealt with the almost $1 billion